Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Purpose Tune podcast. The goal of this show is to create valuable content to broaden your knowledge, inspire you to act, and generate meaning in your life so that you can tap into your own purpose. Now, today's guest is Christine Meyer. Christine has been a life coach for 20 years. She is a founding member of the Forbes Coaches Council and the author of Keep It Simple, Smartypants. It is her mission to empower, uplift, and educate her clients on how to intentionally and confidently create the lives they want. Her clients are passionate, love life, and are already they have a track record of success. And they also understand that coaching is not just a luxury, that it is a privilege. And that hiring Christine has tremendously affected their lives in powerful and positive ways. Christine believes that everyone has the ability to joyfully, playfully live with no apologies necessary for that. Christine, thank you for coming to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. And we've had wonderful conversations so far, so I'm eager to take this conversation a little further.
Yeah, I'm excited what this conversation will hold for both of us. So, aside from what I've read, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as one who loves to joyfully, playfully live. Certainly.
And you assert that every day, everywhere, right?
I don't assert it, but I do practice that every day because I think that joyfully, playfully living is a practice, and it's something that you have to intend and desire and continue to choose. I would describe myself as being a thoughtful person, an intentional person, inquisitive and curious, and certainly not taking myself or life too seriously.
That's amazing. So how did you get into this work of empowering others to live their best self?
Well, I blundered into it, really. I didn't know about life coaching, and I went to a Hay House seminar and went to listen to an author speaking there that I had read her book, and she spoke about life coaching. And when she did, I knew immediately that I wanted to be coached, and I knew immediately that I wanted to become a coach. And since that time, I've never looked back, really. I was in many other careers before that, but always knew that I wanted to help people, and I wanted people to feel empowered. And of course, because I was searching for my own empowerment, that was a calling that I felt very compelled toward. And again, I haven't looked back since. I love what I do.
So for people who may want to consider going to life coaching, should they be in a place of confidence and a place that they believe that they're worthy before they can help other people? Or do you find that it is through the journey of helping people that that's where they find themselves?
Well, I don't think that there's a right answer to that question. I think that a desire can be very strong to help others. And if you're not there yet, then over time you'll get there if that is your desire. It's definitely helpful to be a confident coach, to be a coach who feels worthy, but everyone is always attracting people that are a great match to them. And so wherever you are, you will attract the good fit as clients to where you are. And as you evolve, they evolve. As you evolve, they evolve. As you evolve, they evolve. I think it's definitely helpful to be a confident coach. Now, you can always be developing your skills. I've been in doing this for 20 years. I'm always developing my skills. I don't have anything mastered. I love the mastery, but the mastery is never done. So no matter where you start, there's always more to develop in your skills, to listen more, to pick up on things more. But you don't have to start at perfection, and neither do you have to end at perfection, because there is no perfection. Again, mastery is this beautiful thing that we can always be discovering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's a journey, is what you're saying. It's a chance for us to continue growing and continuing to improve ourselves, as long as we have the ability to learn and the willingness to be.
The willing, it would be a really great word here, willingness. And it is a journey. Isn't everything a journey? Isn't anything about life a journey?
Mm.
Isn't it always you begin someplace and you're moving towards something?
Mm.
It's always a journey, no matter what it is you choose. And I think that if you choose to be a life coach, there obviously has to be a great desire to be of value to others.
Mm.
And I think a big distinction to make in life coaching, certainly, I won't speak about any other coaching, but it probably applies there, is to understand that you are not the one doing the work for the people. You are not the one doing the work for the clients. The clients have to do the work themselves, obviously, but it's not deep. You can only offer them tools and ways to go fishing on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not the solution to their problems. You are not the answer to everything. You are a catalyst for their own empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I approach life coaching. It's like, I don't have all the answers. I will never pretend to have all the answers for you. You have your own answers, but I will guide you toward your own answers.
Mm-hmm.
I will drop seeds here and there to help lead you toward your answers. I will give you some tools and some perspectives and some different mindsets and some ways to approach your life, and help you tell different stories about yourself and your life, so
Mm-hmm.
that you keep sniffing that trail out
Mm-hmm.
for yourself,
Right.
and that you can stand on your own.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of like what self-empowerment is really getting people to realize that they have the power to change, and they're
Correct.
more creative than they think, to get out of this box or matrix in order to transform their lives in ways that would be positive for them and for society. Yeah.
Correct.
So, of course, the show is about purpose. What does purpose mean to you, and how does it show up?
Purpose to me is more about living in this moment now. Purpose for me is more about the joy
Mm.
and how I feel now and choosing it now, than it is about living under any illusion that a destiny has been assigned to me, or that I have a purpose that is outside of me.
Mhm.
Because if I can be living in this moment joyfully, then I'm really fulfilling my first and only purpose that I was born knowing that I had, which was to be joyful.
Mm.
And so whenever I decide along the way, that along the journey of my life, to be important to me or meaningful to me or fulfilling to me or satisfying to me, can become a purpose for me,
Mhm.
meaning it's what I live to do, it's what I enjoy doing, and it's a focus. But again, for me, purpose is more of a moment to moment thing. I can be living in my purpose right now, and I don't have to be saving the world. I don't have to be feeding the children. I don't have to be, and not that any of those things are good, wrong, bad, or any of those things. It's just simply I think we tend to put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and society does as well to some extent, of find your purpose, live your purpose, find your purpose, live your purpose, and that you should be doing something more important than you're doing right now.
Mm.
You should be more. It's like, well, why not just acknowledge that you are amazing as you are here and now, and feel good now, and choose that, and keep choosing it and choosing that, and you will ultimately, yes, you will ultimately feel inspired
Mm.
toward something that is satisfying your desires, and that will feel purposeful to you.
So you mentioned a point about enjoying the process, or acknowledging yourself now. and how society wants us to do more. And I find it interesting how when someone comes from a place that they may not see themselves as worthy, and they're going through these internal conflicts. I don't know what it is, anxiety, depression, or self-worth issues. And by acknowledging that they're in the present moment is the effort, right? So by doing more, you are actually working on your internal conflicts. And that is more. Society wants you to do more, and that is more. That's the capacity that a person can have at that time or that moment. So I don't know if you have any comments to that, but I thought that was just a side comment that I thought was important to share.
I
But
think that when you're feeling that way, there is an immediate request, whether you know it or not, for an improvement.
mm,
No one really likes to feel out of alignment. No one really likes to feel out of sync with who they know they truly are to be.
mhm,
No one wants to feel bad. Everyone does want to feel good.
mhm,
And so when you are in a bad feeling, in a negative emotion, that doesn't mean that it's wrong or bad, just mean it doesn't feel good in that place. No matter what, there's always that energetic request for an improvement. And
mhm,
so there is, to your point, there is always more. So it's no wonder that all of us want more
mhm,
so much of the time, because it is in our nature to know that things are supposed to be good for us.
mhm,
Things are supposed to go well for us. But from the other vantage point, another vantage point too, it's when things are not going well, it doesn't also mean that we're wrong or unworthy.
right.
And that seems to be something that people link together. If things are going badly for me, then I am unworthy, or I'm not good enough, or I am not deserving. And that is just not the case. It's so much simpler than that. There's so much more to the story than that. And it's so much simpler than that. That sounds like a contradiction, but that's not at all the takeaway that needs to be taken from those situations. And to want more is good, because desire is what expands the universe.
Yeah, that's powerful. Um, so what inspires you to do the work you're doing?
I just can't not do it. It's not a thought of, do I do it or do I not? Of course, sometimes I've questioned that, but for the most part, I feel compelled to do it. I feel it's not from a place of need or lack, or I need to do this to show people.
Mhm,
It's more, I just can't help myself. I just can't help myself. And I love it. Anytime I have a conversation about what I do, and I can describe it in a million different ways because there are so many working, moving little parts to what I do. I can feel the energy moving through my body, and I just can't help but think the way that I do, and ask the questions that I do, and want to know more about self-empowerment. I want to know more all the time, and
mhm,
how it applies, about how powerful we are,
mhm,
the creators that we are,
right.
and that we have these abilities to create, literally create our reality.
Mhm,
That's exciting.
mhm,
That's amazing. That's who we are.
mhm,
And so whenever I can discover more and integrate more, and then be having a conversation with a client, or anyone really, but a client in my career, right, and have them understand that, it's extremely satisfying and fulfilling and meaningful and life-giving.
yeah, I love that. So you mentioned earlier that we are more powerful than we think, and it was who was it that I had listened to the other day that said that we as human beings, we are spirits living in a human experience.
Absolutely.
What's your thought on that?
Well, as I discuss in my book, you have a soul, and you are not just this, you're not only human, is what I like to say.
Mhm.
It's not just you, it's you and you. So you have a you part of you, a personality part of you, a personality, an identity
Mhm.
that you know is you, that thinks and feels and wants. And that's a very, 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 very extremely important role. In fact, one of the most important roles that there is.
Mhm.
And you also have a non-physical energy soul part of you, an extension of you that flows to you and through you all day, every day, whether you're aware of it or not.
Mhm.
And cultivating, becoming familiar with that relationship, becoming familiar with how that feels to be playing with that part of you is really what a lot of my work is about. Because if you don't understand that part of you and this part of you, and that you're always playing together, then you don't understand truly how you do create your reality, or what your emotions are, or how powerful and how pleasurable your life can be.
Yeah, so I recently dived into this work of spirituality, um, and my mom is a shaman, and she connects to the spirit world, and I never really paid too much attention to that religion and didn't really understand the concepts of it. But now that I'm diving into spirituality, I have a greater appreciation for the experiences that my mom has. And so it's a powerful, powerful resource if you can have the ability to tap into um, that type of world. So I still need to find a way to get my mom on a Zoom recording to talk about it. But anyway, so I thought that was,
I'll send you my book.
I'd love that. Yeah.
But I also think
So
that
tell the listeners, what is the title of your book?
it's called Keep It Simple, Smartypants. Stop overthinking, start aligning, and live happy. And, I think that to that point, that I think we are spirit and we are human. We are human and we are spirit. And it's not two separate things. It's a blendedness that we are reaching for. And when you are blended, it truly is as simple as you feel good. And when you are not blended, when you are not blending with the frequency of your soul, that non-physical aspect of you, you feel bad, you feel negative emotion. And being blended is not as complicated. We don't have to all become shamans to understand the spirit world, to understand the non-physical world. Truly, you can feel it. When you're tapped in, when you're feeling really good. That's you and you together playing. And there's no better feeling than that.
Mm.
And when you're not blended, and when you're feeling some resistance, some negative emotion about something, it also doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just that you're feeling a diminished version of yourself. You are most powerful and joyful when you are blending with your soul perspective.
Mhm.
And it's a frequency thing. It's a frequency thing. Your soul does not come down and join you when you're feeling bad. Your soul is always saying, hey dude, I'm over here, come and join me whenever you're ready. It's never asserting anything, never needing you to be anywhere other than where you are. But when you let go of your resistance, or in other words, stop focusing on the things that are bothering you, and feel more and more lightness, feel happier, choose thoughts that feel better. And here's where some of the mindset comes in, is as you continue to choose thoughts that feel better for the sake of feeling better, then you enhance and feel that connection. And when you feel that connection, you are in alignment not only with your soul perspective of or viewpoint of things, but you're also in alignment with your desires, what you want. You're not in the process of resisting what you want.
Wow, it's powerful. So my next question here is, how do you push through challenging times?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I don't push through challenging times. I take a beat, take a breath, take some time, sit back, refocus, re-intend, change how I feel, look at my perspectives, and I choose thoughts to feel better. And if I can't choose thoughts to feel better about that, then I leave it on the table. I say, you're going to stay on the table for now, and I'm going to go over there and play. I'm going to play. I'm going to do other things. I'm going to think about things that easily feel good, that feel good. I'm going to focus on other things other than this problem, this challenge, this struggle. Because if I move forward in struggle, push through struggle, that only perpetuates struggle.
So tell us more how that perpetuates more struggle.
Pushing through struggle perpetuates struggle, because when you are thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling, you have a point of attraction. You are your own point of attraction. And as you think and feel and think and feel and think and feel, you are continually attracting more and more and more and more. And if you continue to push through and feel struggle, then you are simply putting yourself in a place of attracting more and more what feels like struggle. If you take a beat and you actually change how you feel, therefore you would be changing a perspective. You would soften your perspective. You would find a way to change your mood and attitude, at least a little bit. Start telling a different story. Then you feel better. And what used to feel like struggle is no longer struggle anymore. It could still be the same conditions that you're experiencing, but because you changed your perspective, because you decided to change how you feel, because you decided to soften your story, your vantage point around it a little bit, then that same condition might not feel like such a big struggle. And now you have access to what your soul knows about this. Now you have access to inspiration. Now you have access to different ideas than you did before. When you feel struggle, you have access to some extent, a limited number of ideas about that. And because you're still in the point of attraction of struggle, you might find a solution that will get you this far, but then you'll find another problem and another problem and it'll feel like this never ending hamster wheel of struggle. And you might get to where you wanted to be. You might get through that portion of struggle and go, whew, that was worth it, or whew, I earned my place. And see, a lot of people are committed to struggle because they feel that it means that they've earned their value, they've earned their place of wherever they are. And a lot of people associate struggle first with good results. If I can tell you that I've struggled, then you're not going to judge me for my success. So there are a lot of nuances in that idea of pushing through struggle. And I would never, ever, ever, I don't push through struggle, and I would never encourage anyone that I ever speak to push through struggle. We would address the emotions, and we would address the perspectives, and we would ask all kinds of little different questions here and come at it from a different way, or we would leave that on the table and say, let's talk about something that does not feel like struggle. Do you love your dog? What do you love about your dog? Oh, I love that my dog is funny, and I love that my dog is playful, and I love that I'm looking at my dog right now as I'm talking about this. And I love that life is just so easy for him. I love that he chases the ball. He could endlessly chase the ball. See, now you're not feeling struggle, are you? No, you're not. So maybe an idea pops into your head about that, or maybe you've just released some resistance temporarily. And that really is the point. Don't ever push through struggle. Contrary to popular belief. I get it.
Fascinating. That's I think in a sense, what I'm hearing from you is, if we're resistance to the things in our lives, then it kind of just attracts more of it. And
Not kind of, it does.
yeah, I think that's
Your point of attraction is your point of attraction. Whatever you're focused on is what you are in the process of creating and attracting, period. Right? You want more of it, have at it. You want less of it, then you got to think something differently. You got to feel differently. You've got to change the subject.
So let's shift this conversation a bit and talk about what are some of the most rewarding things about your career?
Oh gosh, well, then I get to talk to amazing people. I mean, that's one of the most rewarding, and that they're brilliant. They're ask amazing questions. They want improvements. They want to be the intentional, happy, powerful, pleasurable creators that they were born to be. And so that's just so exciting. And they want to talk about this stuff that I love talking about, right? I get to be in this position of talking about it and educating and hearing their perspectives, and then tweaking and modifying and clarifying. And it's life-giving. There's everything about what I do is extremely, extremely, extremely satisfying and life-giving to me.
That's amazing. I think we all need to follow our purpose. I think we all need to find what is it that ignite ourselves to wake up excited every morning to do the work. But
you have to cultivate that. You have to cultivate that, right? That doesn't just happen. Because everything that you're thinking during the day contributes to whether you're going to wake up tomorrow feeling excited or grumpy, or feeling overwhelmed or depressed. So what you're doing now contributes to that feeling that you're talking about, or diminishes it or takes away from it, because no matter what it is you're thinking, you are being responded to. Your point of attraction is always being responded to. And so as you think, you are creating. And as you think, there's more momentum. The more you think something, the easier it is to think about it and to keep thinking about it from that perspective. And so you think it and you think it and you think it. So it's a habit, and it's a belief, and it's also a story that you tell, and it's something that you believe about yourself or believe about that. And so joy and excitement and waking up excited in the morning does not just happen. It's cultivating, it's planting the seeds the day before, and it's planting the seeds when you go to bed at night, and it's choosing in the morning, the first thing when you wake up, because most people will do today what they did yesterday, or will think today what they thought yesterday. Why? Because they thought it, because it's easier. And most people will wake up and immediately think, oh, what have I got to do today? I've got to, or crap, I got to go to work, or gosh, we could go on and on about what people think in the morning, but it's usually not something that feels good. Not usually. And so you have to cultivate the emotion. You have to cultivate the feeling you're reaching for. You have to decide over and over and over and over and over and over and over again throughout today, and then tonight when you go to bed, and then tomorrow morning when you wake up, and decide. And that's not hard work. It's just choice. It's just choice about how do I want to feel right now? How do I want to feel? What do I want to think about?
Do you think we're more prone to think about negative thoughts than positive ones? Biologically.
That's normal, not natural. Yes. It's trained. It's trained. It's trained. And again, what you think about is easier to continue thinking. The approach that you have, your general tone, your general place where you kind of hang around, is really how you're going to approach many, many, many of your subjects. And so again, approaching it from the negative perspective less good feeling perspective is, I think, common.
Mhm.
And a lot of people relate to each other in that place. Tell me about yourself. Well, this happened to me, and this happened to me, and this happened to me, and this happened to me. We're not saying that those things did not happen, but there are a whole lot of other things we could be talking about. There are a whole lot of other things that we could be highlighting about each other in our past, present, or future. And so it really is training yourself back into knowing who you really are.
Mm. Fascinating. Thanks for sharing that, by the way. That's powerful stuff.
You're welcome.
Um, so you've been doing this work for 20 years. And have you ever thought of yourself as someone who's successful? And if so, what was that point that made you realize you were successful? And if not, then why?
When I got happy
Mhm.
and kept choosing it,
Mm,
that is my definition of successful.
mm,
Everything else is just a bonus.
mm,
So I don't define my success and how the world would see it as success. In
mm,
that way, yes, I would probably be defined as successful outside of me, but success really begins with me. And success begins with, do I know that I can choose happy? Doesn't matter whether I am in this moment or not, really, truly. Do I know that I can, and am I going to continue choosing it? And that to me is the ultimate definition of success.
mm. Define happy. That means a lot of things to a lot
It
of.
does. It does. And as I said that also, it's like, it's not to be interpreted to mean that if you're not happy, you're not successful. It
Mm,
just means, isn't that what we all want?
right.
Don't we want everything? Don't we want the cars and the houses and the millions of dollars, or the family and the dog and the property and the great body and the whatever it is that we define and associate to be what we want and attach to
Mm,
success?
mhm.
Isn't every single thing that you could take from anyone's list, anyone's goals, don't they want any of it because of how they think that if I have that, or when I have that, or once I do have that, or once I have done that,
Mhm.
etc., I will feel something,
Worthy or
something.
like.
Everything is for the reason of feeling. And so that's why, I don't know now if I'm still answering your question, but that is why I associate that feeling of that success is really about feeling good, feeling happy. So define happy was your question. Well,
Yeah.
happy is feeling good. Happy is feeling content. Happy is feeling good about yourself. Happy is feeling full of yourself.
Mhm.
Happy is feeling, yes, excited, sure, eager,
Mhm.
yes, satisfied, right? It's feeling all kinds of emotion, but I sort of encapsulate all of those emotions into happy, this state of happy, this state of, for the most part, I'm in a pretty good mood.
Mhm.
And I'm not always, which doesn't mean I'm a failure. It just means I know that I can choose how I want to feel and keep making the choices that support that.
Mhm.
Rather than think that, I will consider this thought. That one feels better. And for the sake that it feels better, I'm going to tell that story. I'm going to choose that thought over and over and over again until that becomes my default, until I believe it. So happy is a very big word, because it can be defined in many, many, many ways.
Mhm.
But so it encapsulates all of that, is how I think of it. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
it does. And it ties back to, what this show has been talking about, of course, purpose and meaning, but alongside to that is fulfillment. And fulfillment does mean happy. Uh,
Yes.
and so, to your point, we can achieve a state of fulfillment if we can recognize that we have a choice to decide whether we, what types of emotions we're going to tap into, or behaviors that we're going to display to the world. And so,
Well, to yourself primarily.
or to yourself. That too, that's very important. And
Number one.
to your point about, you have to fill your cup full. If you can't,
Yes.
then how could that individual help other people, right? And so we have to work on ourselves first as the number one priority.
And fulfillment doesn't have to be, I don't have to feel unfulfilled until I find the fulfillment, whatever I've identified that would help me feel fulfilled. It means I can feel fulfilled in this moment just by closing my eyes and thinking about how the feeling of being fulfilled feels like. That's a lot of F's there. And so I can just be quiet and just tune into that feeling, or I can tune into the feeling of ease, or I can tune into the feeling of anything that I want to feel, and recognize that there's no condition that changed. Nothing changed, but I felt it. And that really is the beginning of understanding, part of the beginning of understanding your power in creating the reality you want. Nothing changed. Didn't need to manipulate anyone, didn't need to boss anybody around, didn't need to control anybody around, didn't need to change the condition, didn't need to change the weather, didn't need to change anything. Nothing had to change. And I have the ability, just showed myself that I can feel. And it might be for a minute or less, but still, you did it.
That's amazing. What are some of the success habits that you have that you could share with some of my audience?
I meditate every day, and I like to do it first thing in the morning before life happens, right? Before I get into my day. So meditate every day. I wrote some of these things down. I also like to, look for benefits. Look for benefits. So no matter where you're standing, there are always benefits. There are always benefits to where you are. And when you train yourself, when you practice looking for benefits, no matter where you are, that becomes your default. Instead of the default of life sucks and things aren't working out for me, or going into a room and saying, oh, I don't like that guy, or I don't like this guy, or I don't like what's happening, or you start establishing your expectations. And so look for benefits of wherever you are. Start making that a habit. Keep making decisions throughout your day. And I do this as well, right? I'll bump into something and I'll have an emotional response that's not happy. But I stop and I think to myself, wait a minute, do I want to be right? Do I need to be right? What really is there wrong in this situation? Which means, better question is, what's right in this situation? What's good about this? Okay, so make decisions throughout your day to keep choosing how you want to feel and keep choosing the thoughts that feel more aligned with that feeling than anything. Number 4 is repeat number 3 over and over and over and over and over again, because life will deliver to you all kinds of opportunities to make those choices. Right? And by the end of the day, if you've made a choice after choice after choice of choosing happy, by the end of the day, you won't feel so worn out. You won't feel so downtrodden. You won't feel so exhausted. You'll feel enlivened and inspired and more excited about your life. Number 5, go to bed and prepay for the next morning. I love doing this as well. I don't just plop myself in bed and go, oh, good night, I'm done for the day. I do some prep. I write down, there are plenty of different little games I play here, but one of them is what feels satisfying, what feels good. I don't like to go back over my day too much, because sometimes that can include some good things and some things that I thought weren't so good and some good things. And that puts me all over the place. So instead it's like, what feels satisfying? Well, sitting up in my bed right now and writing this list feels satisfying. Seeing someone smile feels satisfying. Smelling the flowers, having springing feels satisfying. Hearing the birds sing, watching the grass come up greener. And so I go on and I do this for as long as I feel like it. And then I put myself in bed, and then, well, I'm already in bed when I'm doing this usually, but doesn't matter where you're doing it. Then I say, tomorrow I'm going to wake up, I'm going to feel satisfied, I'm going to feel good.
Mhm.
I'm going to acknowledge that I'm awake and I'm in charge.
Mhm.
And tomorrow's going to be a really, really good day. And then I go to sleep. Because again, if you don't start creating new habits, if you don't become intentional and decide where you're going to focus,
Mhm.
there's a whole lot of stuff you can focus on.
Mhm.
Truly, there's
Right.
a whole lot of stuff. Okay, so that was number 5. And number 6 is really keep it simple.
Mhm.
We as a human condition tend to overcomplicate things.
Mhm.
And that is one of the things that I would find with most of the people that I've ever coached is, certainly at the beginning, it's this overcomplication and overanalyzing and overthinking and over storytelling of stuff that, you know what, they're just keep it simple.
Mhm.
Keep it simple. And the simpler you can make it, the easier your life does get. And the clearer, the less noise there is, the clearer you can see your path, your way, what you feel, what you want.
Mhm.
So that's what I do every day. And it's not hard work. It's reminding myself every day that
Mhm.
that is what I choose and what I want. And it becomes a habit. It becomes a thing that you just do.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing those habits. Um, and very powerful tools that people can incorporate into their lives to be, to be better at what area of life they're trying to improve on. So thank you. Um, there's
Another habit. I gotta say something here
Sure,
is,
yeah.
because you said any area that they want to improve. And truly, sometimes it's about when you want to improve one area of your life that doesn't seem to be improving.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about going hard at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about hammering it. It's not about struggling through it. It's not about, it really is. Sometimes it's like, well, I'm going to leave that, like we already talked about, I'm going to leave that subject
Mm-hmm.
on the table for now. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to focus on the things that are going really well,
Mm-hmm.
because ultimately there are things that are going better than others, right? So focus on the things that are going well. And you say, yeah, but I need to focus really hard on the thing that's not. And it's like, no, the more you focus on the thing that's not going well, the more you hold it to
Mm-hmm.
that place,
Mm-hmm.
because you're coming at it from that perspective. You're coming at it from that vibrational attraction point. You've got to get off the subject. If it's not going any place, get off of it, or somehow find a way to think about it differently. One or the other. But if you focus on things going well, now your point of attraction is less staticky. You're introducing less resistance on a regular basis, because you've just decided to leave that subject that you think you should be working on. You've just decided to leave it at the table and said, I'll come back to you when I'm ready.
Yeah.
Now you're not messing up your point of attraction. So now your point of attraction is more consistent
Mm-hmm.
and you're in a different place. And so that subject, frankly, has to improve because you've left it alone. I know that seems contrary to popular belief.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. So we are about to that time.
I'm sure we are. I told you I have a lot to say about this subject.
And I love it. Thank you for sharing. So if people wanted to connect with you, where can they find you?
My website is christinemeyercoaching.com. And I'm on Instagram, Christine Meyer Coaching. I'm pretty consistent everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn, it's Christine Meyer Coaching. So anywhere you look for me, Christine Meyer Coaching.
That should be
And
easy for folks to find you.
yeah, and there's a small portion of my book that is free, downloadable off of my website, and or you can go buy it on Amazon and search out "Keep It Simple Smartypants" and Christine Meyer.
Awesome. Christine, thank you so much for investing your time and knowledge in this space of purpose and meaning and how people can live better lives. And thank you so much for the work you're doing with your clients and people in your communities. And I just want to give you a lot of gratitude for your existence. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. This was really fun. Thank you. Always my pleasure.
All right. Take care.